Um, in the video that started out with mental health professionals, which was the legal issues and trauma therapy, I thought it was pretty compelling and how they kind of outlined some of the false memory movements, and they went back to the roots of false memory and stuff like that. And I think one of their claims that kind of confused me was what would be the benefit for like a child protection services to take kids away from people. I don't. That's where I'm kind of blurry on it. And I know there was a time, you know, not too long ago where there was a movement, I guess, to take kids away from people, and because they didn't agree with their parenting styles or how they were parenting or the potential outcome of the of them raising their children. But and I think we've probably found a lot of studies where it says that staying with biological parents is really the most important thing for the best interest of the child. And that's why CPS is now focused more on uh, keeping families intact. As far as number two, the role of a mental health specialist and uh, in making a decision of whether it's a real or false memory. Oh man, that one's pretty tough. But I would say it's the mental health professional's duty is to what's in the best interest of the client and what's the best thing for the client. So it's taking the available information and kind of using it, I guess, to make the best judgment. I don't really know. It's kind of that's pretty tough, and you can see even with people that were in psychiatry for years and years, they still had a hard time making some of the decisions. And I did read through a couple of the court cases that were on the website, and I wasn't really convinced that this false memory thing was something that is really being manufactured by mental health professionals. That most of the cases seemed like they were dropped or kind of just kind of thrown out of court for different reasons, and so it's really hard to have a case basis to go with. The hard thing for a therapist would be not having bias in their decision because they have to examine the facts, and that's the hard thing. I mean, what facts does a therapist know? You know what somebody tells you, so that's about that's about what it is. It's kind of difficult. So uh, you know, as the therapist, we're probably only going to get one side of any story because we're not going to have a family therapy session where they're sitting there arguing back and forth about something as serious as sexual abuse. So uh, if I worked with a client that said they were being falsely accused of sexual abuse because of someone else's repressed memories, you know, I just would err on the side of my client and try to, encourage them to be honest with themselves and see, where does this stem from. So, like I said, these repressed memory versus false memory court cases, you know, they seem like they were mostly dismissed. And so if my client was saying, I'm being accused of sexual abuse, 30 years ago or something like that, as an example, it's what's the best thing for the client, and what's within accordance with the law. So I don't know. It would be tough, and it would depend a lot on how well I know this client. So if we had years of working together or knew each other pretty well, and I had a really well established base for wanting to believe them, then that would have a lot to do with how I interacted with my client. And one of the most I think the most significant takeaways I had was something that we had done when we did the child protection social work class. uh, is really looking at how I phrase my questions. And so I'm not asking leading questions, and I'm not asking questions about, how, where I'm directing at them. I'm asking open-ended questions so that the client can be open and honest as they can. It's a pretty tough little bit of subject matter here, so I'll be interested to see what everybody else has to say. Thank you.